Hi guys, in this lesson I want to talk about the group of chords that I call 4 minor chords, what they are and how you improvise on them and what you can use them for. Okay, so what is a 4 minor chord? To me anyway. What I call a 4 minor chord, you might know this progression. If we're in the key of C, which of course is just C, F, and then we're voice leading the third of the F, which is an A, down to an A flat, and then down to the fifth of C, which is a G. And that gives us a temporary F minor chord that doesn't actually, it's not strictly diatonic to C major, but at the same time it doesn't really feel that far away. There are quite a few chords that you can group together which has this A flat as a note in them, and that all function more or less as a subdominant chord, but borrowed from a minor key. From C minor, in fact. I like to group chords together by what they sound like more than what kind of chords they are, because I find that easier for when I'm improvising. If I'm reading something and I know what it sounds like, if I understand the chord and I can go, well, okay, then it sounds like this, then I find that a better description than just knowing that it's a dominant or it's a minor 7 chord or something similar. Because that's what I need when I play on it. I need to have an idea about how it sounds like. So understanding chords in a key and in that way building an idea about how they sound is very useful to me. And that's sort of the thing that I'm doing with this whole lesson, because there are quite a few very different chords that are four minor chords. Okay, so this just give a short overview of that. Of course we need to take the subdominant chords and then we need to make them minor, which means changing the A to an A flat, essentially. So these are the chords that I'm just going to mention shortly in this lesson. The first one is a D minor 7 flat 5, which is just the minor version of the 2 chord, which is a D minor 7. And then you have a few different versions of the 4th degree, because you have different kinds of minor scales that you can use. So you have F minor 6, or F minor 7, or F minor major 7. And they can all function as a 4 minor chord. And pretty much the same idea with an A flat major 7. You could have a flat 5 or sharp 11, a normal A flat major 7, or even a sharp 5 chord. Then you have another very common minor subdominant chord, which is in fact a dominant. It's also sometimes called the backdoor dominant. It's the B flat 7, and you'll have that with a flat 5 or sharp 11 and with a normal 5th. And then there's one more which is a bit further away. That's what is often called the Neapolitan subdominant. That's a D flat major 7, which is essentially, if you look at a D flat major 7 chord, it's an F minor triad with a D flat in the bass. So it's sort of an F minor with a flat 6, and the flat 6 is in the bass. So that's this. And you'll sometimes also come across that where it's played as a sharp 11 or a flat 5 even. So those are the chords that I would say are the four 4 subdominant minor chords. So when you improvise on these chords, you need a scale, of course, and since it's 4 minor, so subdominant type chords, I sort of name the scales, or I think of the scales as being subdominant scales in that key. So in this case, because we're in the key of C, I think of them as F minor scales for the most part. And the two that I end up using the most are quite simply melodic minor, so F melodic minor, or F Dorian, which is the same as C minor or E flat major, but C minor makes more of a connection, I guess. What's worth mentioning about the F melodic minor is that it's quite close to C major, because it's C major with a flatted 6th and a flatted 7th. So in that way, if you play that on a chord, like on the B flat 7, resolving to C major, then you're still in a scale that's fairly similar to the C major scale that you were already in, which also tells you a bit about the fact that it's not really moving to another key. Of course, in some cases, in jazz we tend to make 2 5s out of everything. So where originally it was a minor 6 or a B flat 7 or something like this, a dominant chord, sometimes it'll be made into a 2 5, and then you need to play simply C minor. The last one that we didn't talk about yet is our D flat major 7, which is different because it has a D flat in it. But essentially, if you take a C minor scale, for instance, a C minor scale, and flatten the second degree, you just get an F minor scale or A flat major scale. So basically, I play that as if it's like a Lydian sound. Okay, so much for that. Let's try and look at some examples of some of the progressions where you find these chords and how they're used, and then we can talk a bit about how you can put them to use. I think one way I would suggest you use this lesson is you can of course reharmonize standards, so you can change the chords to make the standard sounds your own and give your own take on how a certain melody is harmonized. That's a useful thing to do, and it's also a way to personalize the way you play standards. And using the 4 minor chords like this instead of a dominant or instead of a subdominant, or even suspending a 1 chord, can be one way to do that. Another thing is also just understanding standards. You'll come across these chords, and if you know what it is and you have an idea about how they sound, then that will help you play on them. Okay, so let's do some examples. Okay, so the first example is simply playing a minor cadence instead of playing a major cadence. So that would be D minor 7 flat 5, G7 flat 13, and then resolving to C major. I think if you check out a song like I Love You from Cole Porter, has this. And if I play a line on that, that could be something like this. And just to shortly explain what I'm doing with it, there's nothing really spectacular happening, I guess. The part on the D minor 7 flat 5 is mostly just a shell voicing with a leading note, but then use the arpeggio, of course. Running down the scale, and then this short line, which is kind of a G7 taken from harmonic minor, so C harmonic minor, which makes sense because I think the cadence as a whole sounds better if you play the dominant as if it's also a minor sounding dominant, so in this case harmonic minor. It's sort of based around this F minor 7 flat 5 arpeggio and then resolving to C major. So the next example is using the flat 6 instead of the 2 in a cadence. And if I play a line on that, that's something like this. This is again something you'll find once in a while in a Cole Porter song. I think especially Night and Day has this very clearly. And of course you can use it if you're reharmonizing a song and it has the 11 on the 2 chord. So if you have let's take a song like well, Tune Up. Could be for instance. So you can change the sound in some situations of a standard. Okay, so the line I played, well, is pretty much all A flat major 7 arpeggio. Is again a minor sounding dominant, so G7 from C harmonic minor, and this is based around a B diminished or F diminished, which is the same arpeggio, and then resolving to C major. I think what you have here is that all the lines are going to be pretty basic because the chords themselves are surprising enough in the context. So the third progression is using the Neapolitan subdominant, which is D flat major 7. That sounds like this. So in this case I took a cadence, like a 2-5-1 cadence, and then I actually substituted the dominant with a subdominant chord. And you can do that quite often, but you can, of course, in this case it's a dominant, it's not something you can always do. You have to fit it with a melody. But what you also often see with this chord is that it's used to suspend the tonic. So you play it especially at the end of a song, because usually the songs will end on the root, and you don't want to have like a really heavy C chord at the end. So you suspend it with a D flat, with a Neapolitan subdominant. That'll sound like this. Okay, so if I play a line on this, that sounds something like this. Yeah, so again, fairly, oh sorry, D minor, so fairly simple. F major 7 arpeggio, running down the pentatonic scale, C major pentatonic scale in this case, and then you get, yeah, this is sort of a D flat major arpeggio in fact. Via the C and the A flat, resolving to the 5th of C major. Okay, and the last example. And this progression So 4th degree and then flat 7 as a dominant, or backdoor dominant, or whatever you want to call it, resolving to C. You have this in really a lot of songs. Okay, so if I play a line on this, yeah, this first part of it is sort of A minor pentatonic, to me anyway, and then you get an F major 7 arpeggio in an inversion, going directly to F minor triad, and then this is sort of a B flat major pentatonic line, I guess, resolving to the 3rd of G. So there were a few examples of chord progressions with 4 minor chords and some lines on it, just to give you some idea about how I approach it, hopefully. I hope you can use the material that I presented here. I suggest you try and reharmonize some songs, and of course analyze all the standards that you know, but you probably need to do that anyway. And it can also help you come up with new progressions if you feel like you want to try and make some new chord progressions in your songs, or expand your vocabulary in that, and some stuff to practice. Yeah, I hope you can make your own songs and your own reharmonizations with this. In any case, if you like the lesson, then feel free to subscribe to my YouTube channel. You can also go on my website and subscribe to my newsletter. And if you have any comments, then leave them here on the video, or connect with me on Google Plus or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram and let me know there. And also, if you have any ideas for stuff you would like me to do a lesson on, that's always welcome. So yeah, thanks for watching.